Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of First Impressions on the Scratch the Track podcast presented by the Dude and Grimm Show and co-produced by IVESD. I am the Dude.
And I'm Grimm. And today we're going to talk about the recently updated 2021 list by Rolling Stone of their top 500 songs of all time. I don't care who you are, this list is always going to be up to for debate. And for that reason, we're kind of talking about our first impressions of it, because with anything like this, I think it probably needs a little time to settle in. But there are some things off the back that one might say maybe rub you the wrong way. Other things that you're pleasantly surprised by or just surprised by in general. So, dude, how did they make the list?
Well, so this is the 2021 version. The last version that came out was 2004. So it was definitely in need of a makeover. Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
So essentially what they did, they pulled over 250 artists, musicians, and producers, as well as figures from the music industry and leading critics and journalists. Now, you'll see that there is the list of people I think you can access. And
yeah. Again, I'm less concerned about that, but was there like a numeric scoring, or is it all subjective like we would do it?
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So essentially what they did was they sent all those artists, they had them rank their songs, top 50 songs. Okay. Yeah. So all those people that they sent out to, top 50 songs, nearly 4,000 songs received votes. 254 of them are on the list for the first time. A third of them, a third of the top 100 is new. So the point system they used was, so let's say whatever your top song is, that song gets 300 points. Your second song gets 290. And so it kind of goes.
I guess this goes to my point. They're not considering it by numbers. It's being weighted and scored and everything by who weighed in, but it's still subjective.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if like they had to take in to consideration like how the single did or how many times it got mentioned on social media or any of that kind of like actual numbers. It's still subjective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, just wanted to understand that. I do.
Yeah. So, and so essentially that's how it goes. And so each, if you picked whatever, Stairway to Heaven is number 1 and I picked it as number 2, that's going to be, 590 points that it's going to still accumulate. And then if nobody else picks that one, it has 590 points. That
is an interesting, I do have to say that's an interesting way, because it certainly, then it just becomes a matter of taste for who's voting. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, is it's a matter of taste of who's voting.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I think, definitely with this probably set of people who voted, I think they probably expanded and it became a more diverse group, because one thing that you'll know just as flipping through, as with which we also did an episode on this, their top 5 Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. Yeah. The genre, like really like pop and rap and hip hop had a much larger representation in the albums as well as songs here.
So it should. I get that, because you got to look at, like the overall musical landscape is not just going to consist of like the really greats and classic rock forever. I mean, this all moves and changes. So that's fair. But I also think that with regards to that, you still need to understand what those things meant at the time. And that's the part where I'm like troubled by, because you can't necessarily put a numerical value on like what this did socially. Now, maybe the people can by their votes.
Yeah.
But then again, it's still a matter of taste.
Right. And I think we'll get into the way we want to just kind of talk about this. We're going to talk about through the top 10 a little bit and our thoughts on that. But then there's some things that, just kind of stood out. Some bands that were represented, some that weren't, and some that it's like, wow, I can't. That's the song. That
exactly.
Made it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. You want to kind of go through the top 10 here a little bit?
Yeah, I think so, dude. I
think we'll just start right at the top with number 1, and Aretha Franklin, "Respect" was the number 1 song. I was surprised by it and not surprised by it.
Yeah,
I think.
Certainly, it's a cover. That's an interesting thing. That's an Otis Redding song. Wow. Yeah. And I think that's interesting that it's a cover, but I think what the cover did was so important because it took this and it all of a sudden brought this concept out as like from a female point of view, which I don't think a lot of people in general, but especially women would have said at that time. And I think that's why that is immensely important.
It kind of reminds me of Nancy Sinatra, "These Boots Are Made for Walking." Because remember, it was originally supposed to be a song for a male, but then having her sing it just added a whole nother dimension to it. It was great.
You don't mess with this chick. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Well, and then we go number 2, Public Enemy, "Fight the Power." Again, a very direct song. I think that's maybe the best way to say it, and still very kind of poignant to kind of, the time we're living in. And
it was, again, a big deal when it came out, but it was able to be more mainstream, I think, because unlike let's say Rage Against the Machine, "Killing in the Name," which I believe also made this list. I didn't write down where, but I believe it made it. That song is really polarizing. They swear a lot in it, and it's just so militant, where this one was almost in a way where I think people could swallow it easier when they heard it.
Absolutely.
And maybe not in 89 when it came out, but I think certainly as time has passed.
Yeah. Well, the number 3, Sam Cooke, "A Change Is Gonna Come." I was really surprised by this one. I didn't think it would rank that high. And I look at the top 10 in general, and a lot of these songs probably wouldn't make my top 10. And that even goes to say, if I started, because I differentiate, again, best songs from favorite songs. To me, those
I know. And that's always tough because things. The social context part, I do believe is important. Even if it's not my favorite song, it's like, I get it.
Totally. Yeah. Now, I didn't go back and I should have done this, look and see what the top ones were for 2004.
I had this in front of me.
Oh, you do? Was "Like a Rolling Stone" number 1 in 2004?
"Like a Rolling Stone" was number 1 and "Respect" was number 5. But dude, it is kind of a little stacked when they release that because, dude, the top 5 spots are Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, John Lennon, Marvin Gaye, and Aretha Franklin. So it's like, it's pretty much just like classic rock, white dudes, and I don't know that's really fair. I mean, that could be one person's opinion, but I do think it
comes down to who they're polling and who they're asking.
That's true. And dude, "A Change Is Gonna Come" is not like one of the songs I guess I would immediately think of with Sam Cooke. Now, granted, I'm not the hugest Sam Cooke fan, so I'm not gonna say for a second that I am. But I don't know, for me, if you're talking about a song about change and all that, it's really hard to beat Bob Dylan's "The Times Are A-Changin'." The times That's they true. Are changing. But again, enough people, apparently this song is a really big deal. So you got to at least, heed some credit there.
Mm-hmm. And well, then we move on to kind of the sort of a standout now. And that's, Nirvana "Smells Like Teen Spirit." And when I say a standout, the one thing I really noticed looking at this whole 500 list, I would have to go back and compare lists, but I feel like grunge rock was not
9 in the previous one. Just so you know.
Okay. Grunge was not very well represented in this top 500 list. That period of music,
true.
Everybody kind of got. Nirvana gets 2 songs. I think Pearl Jam had 1. They had Alive. Soundgarden had Black Hole Sun. Foo Fighters had Everlong. Nine Inch Nails had Closer. Red Hot. I mean, not that that's grunge, but I'm thinking of this time period.
Yeah,
had,
sure.
Under the Bridge and whatnot. But like, you know, SDP, Alice in Chains, they weren't represented
at all.
Which I can't say I'm. What's that? Yeah, I can't say I'm overly surprised, but you know, I thought maybe one would sneak in.
I think you know, we were talking about this a little bit offline, and one thing that I was like, oh, number one, I wouldn't have picked that Nirvana song, but number two, I was like, boy, that seems high. But one thing you brought out again is, dude, that marked a huge shift in just music and what was and like
culture,
rock,
music and culture, man. It really did.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, it just sparked something, man. That you can't say. I'm trying to think like. I don't know. Think of another song that really just all of a sudden the world pivoted.
Where you could put that pivot point on that song. And you're right. Definitely. I mean, not that there weren't plenty of people who knew about it beforehand, but if they didn't, they sure as hell did now.
Yep.
So
moving on to track 6, I love this song, Marvin Gaye. What's going on?
I actually don't know how that wouldn't be where Sam Cooke is. Myself, dude.
Especially since Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" was ranked last year the #1 album of all time. That got bumped up.
And so you get the title track. I mean, come on.
But top 10. Then we move on to the Beatles, "Strawberry Fields Forever."
Now, to me, I get this because again, like "Smells Like Teen Spirit." This was all of a sudden like music is going psychedelic now, just so you know. I mean, it was like the moment, you know? Not that we were alive for it, but I mean, in terms of like what was acceptable in popular music, I mean, that was just kind of like, there you go. Yeah. And
the only, I guess, other song that I would pick, and now I will say the Beatles are very well represented on this list. And in my opinion, as they should be. But in my opinion, some of the songs I didn't agree with. I thought maybe a little too much. I will say I thought maybe a little too much for being a Beatles fan. If there was one song of theirs that I could swap in to this, it would be "A Day in a Life," which is number 24.
I don't think it had the traction in popular culture, like, because I think at the time they even made some sort of a music video for "Strawberry Fields Forever," and this was way before like MTV, anything.
No, they did. Yeah. Now number 8, Grimm.
Yep.
Missy, Misdemeanor Elliot. Get Your Freak On. I'm not really sure. This one just jumped out to me. Like I kind of can't believe it.
Dude,
I really can't.
I'm going to have to give this one a
what the fuck is that shit?
Because I understand that there are things that could have been released and had some sort of a huge influence beyond the scope of what we would know because we didn't follow that genre of music, especially in 2001 when it came out.
Yep.
But I'm sorry. To me, to put that song in your top 10, like, are you fucking kidding me? That shouldn't even be a conversation point.
I don't even know what to say. Like,
dude, it's utterly disappointing at best.
Yeah. Well, I think this might be a good opportunity to ask some of the people out there listening and watching, like, what do you guys think? Like, is there something we're missing here? Like, please let us know.
Yeah, I would like to know why. That's all. I would just like someone to tell me why. And because obviously it's not like I was asked to make the list or no shit, right?
Or vote on it.
Yeah, but I mean,
not yet anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't see that. And while you're doing that, if you could go ahead and
subscribe and comment below.
That would be great.
Oh, yeah. Well, then we move on, Grimm, to Fleetwood Mac, Dreams.
I'm surprised that that's the Fleetwood Mac song they chose, quite honestly.
What one do you think they would have chosen? I forget what's the...
Dude, that's a good song. I do like it. Yeah, it's a fine song, but I mean, if I'm gonna like list the Fleetwood Mac songs that I think are the coolest, or dude, The Chain is pretty sweet.
Now, here's the thing, though. I mean, again, would that fall more in your favorites than in,
Well, sure, it would, but then explain to me why Dreams is so important as a song. Like, what is it? Did it represent a cultural shift? And maybe it did, and I don't know. So if you do, please tell me, because
I mean,
maybe
you
that
gotta remember
was
last year with Ocean Spray, it became a big deal. You know,
not Dreams, was it?
I thought it was Dreams, wasn't it? Dreams?
Oh, maybe is that what it was?
Or-
The guy on the skateboard.
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't think it was okay. Then that's on me. But
I'm
and
sure.
it was interesting to see that, like you said at the time, that album charted again because of that. It was a TikTok, right?
God, was it a TikTok? Shoot, it could have been some TikTok, Instagram stories,
Yeah,
whatever.
I
But
don't
it
know.
blew up, and so I don't know. Maybe when this was sent out, what I will say is I feel like that song and that album had a huge resurgence.
Well, that's rumors, right? I mean,
that's
like
rumors,
you said,
yeah.
dude. If it charted again and the album came out in 1977,
Yeah.
I mean, that is an interesting cultural event right there. Kind of like the way and I would have put this on the top 10 maybe for that same reason, but how Bohemian Rhapsody, I believe,
When Wayne's
like
World
that,
came out.
yeah, that all of a sudden that became a really big song again, and remains.
Totally. No, it does. It definitely does.
So number 10,
okay,
dude.
Rounding out the 10, Outkast. Hey, yeah.
I really like Hey Ya. I like Outkast. I don't know that I would have put that in the top 10 though. That's my personal opinion.
There's a lot of other songs I would have certainly put up there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not put in the top 10. Outkast is actually very well represented in this list, too.
Yeah, and for good reason, I think. I mean, there's an interesting, I was watching a thing about them on YouTube, and dude, the way they started, they were like so like underground from the South. I mean, doing stuff in a basement that didn't even have a concrete floor, and they had this whole like collective of rappers. I mean, now, granted, with Outkast, it was really just the two of them, Andre 3000 and Big Boy. But in a way, when I see that and their humble beginnings, it reminds me a lot of WuTang Clan, which I am glad to say, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, dollar, dollar bill, y'all. WuTang was on this list, and I'm sure they weren't in 04. So I was glad, and I will get to that when we get into some of our own picks. So.
Well, and, I think, I mean, you can, kind of move a lot of these around and stuff, because I'm sure some of them got even the same score and the same number, and then they have to decide, well, one's put in order. But number 11, the Beach Boys, God Only Knows. I mean,
that should have made the top 10.
I mean, other than, there's two albums from that period that, again, we were talking about like Smells Like Teen Spirit kind of turning things.
That one and Sgt.
Pet Sounds
Pepper's.
and Sgt. Pepper did that as albums, and so
and although
like
Strawberry Fields wasn't on Sgt. Pepper's, that was still like the initial shift, and then Sgt.
it was
Pepper's
that time
came
period.
Next.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you can tell me in regards to influence, maybe sales. I don't know. I didn't look up the numbers, but I just don't know how you could really explain to me in any sort of a way that employs logic or reason that Get Your Freak On is a better song than God Only Knows. Just, I don't see it possible.
I'm with you.
And there's so many good songwriters when you think about that. You're wondering like, okay, well, maybe they didn't make the top 10, but like, how are they so far back in the list? Paul Simon is one that came to mind for me.
Sure. Yep. He, Simon, and I think it was even Simon and Garfunkel. Did a song off Graceland even make this? I don't believe it did.
And I don't get that. But instead of ripping it apart, which I could probably rip the thing apart for hours, again, only based on my own opinion. So what's that worth? But
yeah.
I don't know. I made a little list of some ones that I wanted to talk about that were just interesting to me.
Yep. Go for it.
All right. You want me to? Okay. So we already talked about God Only Knows. Mm-hmm. Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks. Now, that is always regarded as a really beautiful song, and a lot of people consider it like the best Kinks song. But I'm thinking, like, in terms of Lola, that talked about like like trans, it talked about these issues like with sexuality way before anyone in anywhere had the balls to like talk about these things in such an overt way. So I think that if it's not relevant now, you have to look back at it as even more relevant because of what it was saying then.
Okay. I'm with you.
We talked about Idioteque making the list. I was glad to see that. Number 48, a little far back for me, but again, an important song.
Would that have been your, because so I have Idioteque, Creep, and I believe Karma Police. So 3 Radiohead songs I believe made this list.
I would have put Paranoid Android on there myself. Probably first and foremost for them.
Yeah. Personally, I do. Now I know, again, we're talking about left turns and pivots. Obviously, Kid A gets a lot of clout for that.
But still, had you ever heard anything like Paranoid Android, especially like in that era? It was just unlike anything else, in my opinion.
I still haven't heard anything like it. Yeah. I'm with you.
Dude, number 59, The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. That is one of, I'm not a huge fan for whatever reason of like a ton of a real old school rap, but dude, that song is awesome. And I was glad to see that on there. Dude, 107 C.R.E.A.M, WuTang Clan making the list. I was really glad to see that. I didn't expect it, but I was like, it deserves to be on there. Cause I feel like when you listen to that song, they talk about a lot of things that are talked about in rap in general, but I think it's a lot more of an autobiographical kind of honest way about it.
Sure.
214, Deacon Blues. Great song by Steely Dan, but not the one that I would have expected.
I would have chosen. No, I'm with you.
Although that's Mike's favorite Steely Dan song. So, dude, 278, Pressure Drop by Toots and the Maytals. Was really happily surprised to hear that, to read that.
Yep.
432, Summertime Blues by Eddie Cochran. Now, I was interested because, number one, Respect as a cover. Dude, The Who did a lot more of a grittier version of Summertime Blues than Eddie Cochran. And moreover, so did Blue Cheer, which was like a real heavy psychedelic rock group. And I think that's probably all I need to talk about. But
cool. I'll go through mine a little bit here. I was pleasantly surprised to see Nothing But a G Thang at number 29, and not only to have it on the list, but have it that high up.
Yeah, because I feel that is really high for that.
But here's the thing. I feel like that song is
another
such
shift.
Monumental shift in sort of music that probably doesn't get, unfortunately, I feel like it gets a lot of bad attention, kind of that era, just because there was a lot of violence around it, but that was representative of also the music and the culture itself. So
yeah, for sure.
I will say this, and this is just for me. So number 61, Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven. One not being represented until song 61.
Yeah, sure.
Also, I just, to me, this is just me. Stairway to Heaven's like a top 10 song for me. It just is. The elements of the song, the transitions, the way it builds, just everything about it is I think pretty amazing. Now,
so you would have put it above Royals by Lorde, that was number 30, and beat not only that but Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Just okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. I would have. Okay. I noticed we have Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine at 88, which is fun. I have no problem with that at all. But seeing that song there, kind of, man, there didn't seem to be a whole lot of 80s kind of sort of hair rock bands that were represented too.
I feel like Paradise City almost would have been a better, because you want to talk about the culture of talking about the dichotomy of like that life out there on the strip. I mean, that, Welcome to the Jungle. Or sorry, not Paradise City. Welcome to the Jungle. My bad.
Now, dude, I will say, I think they should have done Jay-Z 99 Problems at number 99 and not number 96. That would have just been better.
Agreed.
I think it could have been. I think it could have been actually, in all honesty, much higher because I think it's a good song. And I was a couple of the Beatles songs that are on here. We have Something at 110, and then and there's another one, and then Penny Lane at 280. Like Penny Lane, I like it.
Sorry,
Penny Lane, really? I liked, dude, Nick Drake, Pink Moon at 162. Yeah. Very happy to see him make the list.
Yeah, I was also pleasantly surprised by that.
179, a band, they're making their first appearance on the list at this point. Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb.
Now what I understand you got to do the ones that were like played and stuff, but dude.
Sure. The thing I will say about Pink Floyd, though, I mean, for me, I love their songs, but I think a lot of people, they're an album band.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that I don't love individual songs, but they are an album band.
And dude, the Wall, even above that one, like another brick in the wall. Come on.
But I think it's just Comfortably Numb, and then Wish You Were Here makes it all the way down at somewhere at 302.
Yeah, it's really weak.
Jimi Hendrix Experience Little Wing, which I like that song, but I don't know if that's one of the ones I would have picked.
Like there's some real heavy hitters to me other than that one. I agree.
Yeah. Now I'm surprised you didn't bring this one up, Grimm. Pavement at 244. Summer Babe.
Dude, the list is so dense it becomes difficult, right? After a while. Yeah. And there was just like, I was scrolling through it and there were some things I didn't see. Wouldn't have been my Pavement song by any means. I would put Pavement on the top 500 list, but of course it would be more subjective, I guess, to me. But I think, dude, Embassy Row, a lot of things kick the hell out of Summer Babe. But I think again, that was kind of like this shift because I believe Summer Babe is the first song off Slanted and Enchanted, which is that was their first album and kind of a little bit of a shift maybe.
Mm-hmm. Just a couple other ones that stand out. Nothing really to say. I'm happy to see that Nine Inch Nails did make it with Closer. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge. Really surprised. The Grateful Dead made it at 334 with Ripple. Like Ripple. That made it ahead of Box of Rain at 364. I mean,
I do like Ripple better, but I see what you mean. Box of Rain.
I figure like Sugar Magnolia or something would have made it, right? I mean,
Uncle John's Band.
Uncle John's Band. Then, just a couple others that stand out. Pearl Jam Alive, I believe the only Pearl Jam song that made it. And then Beck Loser, the only Beck song that made it.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even want to. No, I'm just going to stop because there's some bands and I think they're good bands and stuff, but I just don't know that they need to be on the top 500 songs of all time. I'm really... Oh, BTS made it, just so you know, the Korean boy band with Dynamite at 346. So thank God that was above, like shit that actually matters. Dude, for me, I got to give the whole thing a big fat.
What the fuck is that shit?
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling next time, here's the thing, Grimm. They did one in 2004. They did one in 2021. When they get around to doing another one in 2038, I'm sure they will be coming to us to give our input, and we will happily do it. And we'll do it right. Yeah. We'll do it right. Because obviously we know everything. So
I mean, we'll make sure that we don't put Call Me Maybe by Carly Jepsen as 436, because I know that was big on the internet, but let's face it, who gives a shit? Sorry. I mean, what can you say for some of this? It's just, just, some
of them, dude, it's a stretch, man. It really, really, really is.
They need to have sections of it where they're like, you're going to hate yourself. And by the end of it, it's like, start the oven up. I mean, like, it's just not, oh, man.
Oh, shit. Yep. Well,
so please like, subscribe, and comment below because we would like to know your comments.
Yeah.
And
yeah. We're going to wrap this up, everyone. Now, look, we all know these lists are a lot of good fun, and it really comes down to personal preference. I mean, obviously, I'm much more aligned with classic rock, alt rock, and that type of music. It doesn't mean that, there's a lot of other stuff that I'm really into, but that's my favorite stuff that I gravitate towards. I'm sure everybody has their genres and things that they like. Some of this stuff is a little ridiculous, but I guess that's just also.
Yeah, I can't remember the number, but it's like you got to make sure that Pitbull's on the list, right? I mean, you just do.
It wouldn't be a list without it.
Come on.
So please let us know what you guys think of not only the top 10, but are there some bands and songs here that are misrepresented? Some that you see on there too much.
Yeah. Why? Like, for example, why do you think "Yeah" by Usher is at 290 and not 3? I mean, come on. Come on.
Yeah.
So with that said, it's time to go.
It's time to go. It's time to go.
Dude and Grimm Show. Scratch Your Track is produced by the Dude and Grimm. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021. The Dude and Grimm Show.